the fact that the nodes are going to sit at 27 and have been at 27 for months, I think is super telling because 27 is Mercury and that is the markets. For the week of March 10th. So March 10th and the following 7 days. Hello. Hello, hello. Hello, hello, hello. Welcome, welcome. This is G. You're watching Allastrology. And this week, we are focusing on, we have Mercury. It begins its retrograde this week. And this is the eclipse week. Yes, this is the eclipse week. So there's actually kind of a lot thrown in here. So here we go. Let's get it on the screen. I kept the chart pretty clean though, so we'll mark it up as we go along because, well, it's an eclipse week. That's already a big thing. Juno's been doing some interesting stuff. It's been sitting at the same degree in Sagittarius for weeks. So it's going to talk to us about the justice system, the judicial system, our beliefs about justice. It's freedom, it's religion, it's spirituality, my philosophy on life. When we think of Saggy, it's my interpretation of what the truth is, my interpretation of the law, my interpretation of the good book, of a sacred book, of sacred it's interpreting, basically. Bottom line, Sagittarius, it's your interpretation based on your perceptions because of Jupiter energy. So that is all in the backstory of this week's energy because Sagittarius is Jupiter energy and Jupiter energy is also Pisces energy. There's a lot here. The sun is connected right there to Saturn, authority figures, rules, restrictions, because that's what Saturn is. But it's not just restrictions. It can be because it tends to be like, okay, you got to fill out this paperwork. You got to follow this regulation. But it's in Pisces, and this is where we bend the rules because the rules become kind of fuzzy in Pisces. And the sun is how I express and radiate and communicate. It's how I stand out. All right. The sun being an authority figure, you being the authority of your own life, your energy possibly. So when the sun is in Pisces, we can feel tired and sleepy. So for those of you who are very sensitive with Pisces in your chart, whether you're a Pisces moon or ascendant or rising, or you have a lot in the 12th house, the sun in Pisces can make us sleepy, dreamy, a little, Calgon, take me away. And I believe this, I believe that, something I wouldn't have believed when sun was in Capricorn. No way, no how, no, absolutely not. But here, my perspective is a little bit more open. My intuition, my heart opens up actually. And so that's a wonderful energy. As long as there's not people around taking us for like being shysters. And that's the caution when there's a lot of Pisces energy, is the shyster energy. Because the sun is connected to Saturn here, I'm feeling like the Saturn energy will help in a way with keeping things realistic, keeping us grounded, right? Because Pisces, we can get in the water and just kind of go with the flow. Just float downstream and holy shit, where did you go? And I'm gone, right? And I need a life preserver. Pull me back in. Substances, because Calgon, take me away. I need a break. I need respite. I need to escape. Pisces energy wants to escape. So the North Node and Saturn and the Sun and Neptune. Really kind of fascinating when the North Node entered into Pisces and then Mars was doing that stuff, right? Like Hollywood, LA, the big fire. Sun and Saturn can be those rules, but we can kind of bend the rules. And it's an authority figure. Dad and boss energy at the job, authority of Hollywood, authority of pictures and sound and music. Musicians are Pisces energy, but so are politicians. Anybody who is the podcasters. I keep hearing podcasters since the last video. Podcasters keep coming forward really loud because on podcasting, sound is a big deal, right? Not just the words, but the quality of the sound is a big deal with podcasts. Saturn is about structure and order, okay, and rules. And when the sun connects with that, an authority figure and rules, things can change and morph because the North Node is at 27 and it's in Mercury degree, right? It's the same degree, still here. It is business because that's 27. It's news, social media. Sound is also social media to TikTok stuff. And that takes me to the outlier that I started talking about. Juno is the outlier. There's not a lot of stuff in Saggy. There's a few things here and there, a couple of points that we don't, a lot of these are quick moving objects is my point. So for this week, we got Estrella at 18, but we have Juno sitting at 1 degrees in Saggy. Remember, the judicial system, justice, Supreme Court, and judges. I have a blue line drawn. It's been here for a while. This isn't new, but we haven't talked about it because there's just been always so many other things. Right here in Aries at 0 degrees is the world axis point, right at 0. And the world axis point will affect the world. That's why it's called the world axis point. So the world is listening. You follow? So interesting because this is a trine coming from Juno, partnerships with Sagittarius energy. So whether it's religious partnerships, Jupiter, people who have positions of authority, we think of people who can pass judgment and judges on the Supreme Court. And we know, of course, with the news and with social media and the new administration and hearing the different, this is what I'm going to do type of stuff, or a lot of the back, walking back a lot of the things that were promised on the campaign trail, which I think is pretty normal when a politician gets finally into office. It's like, oh, did I say that? Even though it might be presented a different way. The world access point and 29 degrees politics is conjunct. You see? Because it's 29 and then, 0. The fact that the nodes are going to sit at 27 and have been at 27 for months, I think is super telling because 27 is Mercury and that is the markets. Pisces energy, it dissolves things. The sun is going to move 7 degrees, so the sun will be conjunct. The sun will be conjunct the North Node by the end of this week. Sun is an authority figure. So all of a sudden, we might have an inkling of what direction of what's going to happen. This has to do possibly with the markets, with money, with social media, with institutional support. Institutional support. If I didn't use that word, that's when the government has to write a check, right? That's Pisces energy. It swoops in and it sends you some money. It's benevolent. It's Jupiter. It's giving, and it usually is there to have like a protective bubble effect, a safety net effect, right? So the North Node and the Sun, there may be an announcement with the Sun and the North Node at 27 at that time because it's the Mercury degree. Say it with me. It's the Mercury degree. Exactly. And we have Mercury. Now that we're talking about Mercury, Mercury and Venus are conjunct. You see, Mercury is going to begin retrograding this week. What that retrograde means, because there's Jupiter degree and its belief, and it can be benevolent, but Isis is here and she's connected to Pluto. We discussed that last week. It's pioneer energy. It's new, it's fresh, it's different. And it has support from Aquarius energy. It's unconventional. Pandora's box is at 27 this week. Now, what I will say about this is the stock market, 27 degree. Pandora's box is here. So, with all that said, On the 14th, we have an eclipse. Okay. There is a video for the eclipse already out. To get the deep dive, you're going to want to go watch that video. This eclipse is a total lunar eclipse, and it happens in Virgo energy at shocking 23 degrees. I say shocking because that 23 degrees is the vibration of Aquarius, of Uranus. So this eclipse on the 14th, total lunar eclipse, a big release, because that's what eclipses are. So that 23 can bring surprises. Now, for those who had stuff exactly at that 23 degrees, I can pretty much guarantee this is already a thing. You already know about this. It already started happening. We feel these eclipses 6 to 12 months in advance. And I've seen this in my life. I've seen it in other people's lives. It's real. Hopefully at this time, there isn't anything more surprising. However, you would be wise to maybe expect a surprise. Let's expect a pleasant surprise. Let's expect something that's positive, right? Something where you're excited that you have something new. Something where you're excited that the old is like the old and we're done with that. I'm ready to move on. I needed a new one anyway, type of thing. Let's hope that's the case. Virgo can be jobs. It can be jobs. These are the individuals who are also the people who are essential workers, we are needed in our everyday life. It isn't just the nurses and the EMTs, the people who show up, the firefighters, the police officers, people who serve one on one, right? They serve one on one. So normally they can be people who come to your home and cut the lawn, who whatever, do landscaping, who clean your house. The servants is normally how we look at this energy. But when it's in Virgo and it's earthy, it can also be, the workforce, people who serve you your coffee and your food. What about people who pick the food? Right. You grow the food in that area and people have to then harvest and pick the food. The very next day is when Mercury begins her retrograde. Okay. Mercury retrograde at 15 degrees. I said 15. Mercury retrograde on the 15th starts at 9 degrees. 9 degrees of Aries. She will go from 9 degrees of Aries back to 26 degrees of Pisces. Venus and Mercury's retrogrades are almost identical. 10 degrees of Aries to 24 degrees of Pisces. Now, remember, you're listening to the degrees because you're looking to see if you have something in your chart at these degrees. Because with them going from Aries to Pisces, it's a change of cardinal energy to mutable energy. So what was squaring 1 minute may create a trine the next minute for you. You follow? You might have something that creates ease and then something that is very stressful as these move because they're changing signs and they're changing energy. So you kind of want to pay attention to that. Aries is my body. Holy crap. I want my head to look good. I might get a new hairdo. I might cut my hair. I know I'm planning on getting my hair cut. Not cut, but I need a few inches cut off. I'm long overdue, actually. It is kind of fickle, though. That word will work. 1 minute it's a value, and next minute it's not. And Venus is like that when she's in Aries because Venus, she's shiny. That's Venus in Aries. Values and money and finances, shiny. I like that. I got to have that. She's not thinking about the long term. She's very, very much in the moment, very much about what strikes her, right? That's Venus. I want to throw in this reminder too. There's still a lot of impulsive energy because Uranus is literally still at the Uranian degrees. It's still at 2354, but it's moving slowly, but it's moving, right? So this is still Aquarius, shocks and surprises. Let's move at lightning bolt pace and speed. Like that's just, Uranus and Taurus with money and values. And Jupiter is at the Aries degree. So this is, we think Mars. We think Mars, just like we think Mars with Aries, soldiers, policemen. It's just really interesting energy for people who have to come in and show support, people who need support. And it just can be very feisty. So we just want to always keep the Aries energy in check. The good news is that there's a trine. Mars is trining Vesta here. Vesta is in Scorpio, so this is insurance money, right? And it's in an ease, it's in a beneficial ease. It's a trine energy to the Mars energy. And so Mars can be, about the hurts and the wounds and the trauma to the home, okay? And to the homes, and to my neighborhood, and to my community. Also to women, and of course, as long as Mars is in Cancer, there's always going to be that abortion issue and women dying from you know, having to take matters into their own hands. Vesta can pay attention to the shared values and say, okay, yeah, this has to be taken care of. And so having that with a sextile, I'm sorry, with a trine to Mars, but also there's a lot of energy in Pisces. So there's still this grand water trine and it's still strong. And we have to pivot. And that's the power of Pisces energy. It's mutable energy. So it says, oh shit, this is happening. Okay, well, now we kind of got to change gears. And even though there's a lot of really strong fiery energy and it is retrograding, so it will go back into the Pisces energy of understanding. This basically is, money going back. And when money goes back, when Venus goes backwards, it's I have to review the values. I have to review the assets. I have to take a look at the books. I have to, go over the data and the details because her and Mercury are like this. They are like this. So there might be some reviews, there might be some conversations where politicians, people who have a public platform, judges even, things going before the Supreme Courts, for the federal judges in different states, whether it's over, gosh, it just feels like we're talking about the same thing all the time because it's just a continuation of some of the same energies. So individual rights and freedoms and freedom of speech. The overall energy for this week would be to make sure that you're embracing the Pisces energy that we still have, because it asks us to be flexible, to be patient, to be understanding, but to not be fooled. To not be fooled. And Mercury and Venus are going to go into Aries. They're going to have a different perspective altogether. Then they're going to go back into Pisces again. It's going to change their perspective, but they both forgot something. Something was left behind. There were some details, something missing that they had to go back and get and review. And then once they get that information, they can bring it forward. Because we just never know, especially with all this Pisces energy. You just never know. All right, guys, that's a wrap. You take care and continue prayers and support, and for whoever else needs it, whether it's a phone call to somebody or baking some cookies for somebody or sweeping the floor for somebody, whatever the hell that small deed is. Pisces is kind of going to be like, I got to do what I got to do to help support somebody right now. So it's, it's kind of like it's time for everybody to roll up their sleeves type of thing, and do whatever it is that you can do. it's needed and appreciated with all that Pisces energy. All right. Take care. I will see you in the next video. And remember, I always, always, always appreciate your time. Bye-bye.